What up, guys? Welcome to the FitBiz podcast. Jordan here. And what is up, IFCA page? So good to see you guys. Thought I would tune in live here because what I'm going to cover is something that comes up a lot, questions that we get a lot, which is all around the title of this episode is specifically 6 and 7 figure online coaching delivery models, fulfillment models. So I'm going to go over what the best coaching companies in the world or in this industry are doing to provide their clients exceptional service, exceptional value. And this is going to cover brass tacks, like what should you be giving your clients? How much time should you be spending with them? What should you deliver? How do you make sure that your price to value discrepancy doesn't become lopsided, right? Because we all want to provide as much value as we possibly can. And within IFCA now, having worked with almost 3,000 coaches, we've built a 7-figure business ourselves. We've seen what all the other companies in the industry are doing. And I've dwindled this down into a clean little description and outline to tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing. So what I'm going to talk about is through years of lessons and testing, trial and error, how to actually deliver an online coaching experience that does 3 things. Number 1, that provides exceptional value to the client, that gets results, and it creates retention. And it doesn't require you to equally give away a bunch of your time. Number 2, is this something that people want? Like, should you include certain things in your online coaching offer? And are those things that people even want? Or are you creating more work for the client that ends up having a negative value effect, right? So like when you go to talk about your offer, does it fit a problem that they're seeking to solve? And then number 3, how to actually provide a coaching experience that allows you to charge a dollar amount that just won't require you, that won't result in you being a minimum wage entrepreneur. Because I've seen that happen many times, right? Where you end up getting a bunch of clients, but because you're not providing the right things, you're not charging correctly, you have the wrong clients, you end up just like hating your business and overworking yourself. So I'm going to cover this kind of in 2 phases of delivery. So phase 1, and I have to share this in phases because the same things that you're going to deliver to clients when you're doing multiple 6 figures in business and you have a team is going to look a lot differently than when you're early in your business and it's just you. So I'm going to explain this in 2 phases, all right? So phase 1, when you're just starting out, let's say from 0 to 10K a month, just using that as a baseline. Phase 2, I'm going to call scaling with service. Now, how do we add more service, more value so that we can continue to charge higher because the business is growing? So let's jump in. First, I want to talk about why I'm even talking about this, because frankly, I've made all the mistakes that you might be making right now or that you have also made. Okay, so when I first started online coaching, I'd been a PT for several years, and it was around the time that I met Erin in 2017 that I realized, man, the opportunity with online and what that actually looks like. She was doing $500,000 a year by herself, and I'm like, oh wow, there actually is something to this online training thing, right? And when I was dating Erin, I actually didn't want to learn from her, which is kind of funny, but I told her, like, do not share with me anything that you're doing because I just want to figure this out on my own for 2 reasons. 1, ego, right? And 2, she had just gone through a divorce, which her and her ex-husband kind of had some intertwined business dealings. And I didn't want her to feel like I was trying to mooch off her anyway or leverage her in any way. So I'm like, look, you keep your thing separate. I'll figure out how to do this on my own. And I surely did, but it took me a lot of fuck ups. So the first thing I did when I wanted to get started was I created this stupid fucking PowerPoint presentation with all this stuff that I was going to give my clients, right? When I was like trying to come up with my program, it was like daily education, Zoom workout sessions, mile-long PDFs with everything about fitness that I know. And I was going to sell this as like a subscription model. I was going to have different tiers, like $99 a month, $150 a month, $300 a month, with like different levels of service. And I started promoting this super heavily. And for weeks, I promoted this for like a month and I got 3 people to sign up. And I actually had a decent sized audience too. I think I had like 15,000 followers or something like that because I was trying to sell something that was super confusing and that nobody wanted. And so my thought at that point was, well, this isn't working, not because my offer sucks and I'm selling stuff that people don't actually want and it's confusing. Couldn't be my fault. I just figured, well, I don't have a big enough audience, okay? So instead what I did was I partnered with a good friend of mine, Justin, shout out Justin, awesome dude, who he had an audience. And so we decided we were going to partner and we were going to launch a challenge, okay? So this challenge was called Summer Assault Challenge, and we did literally everything you could possibly do wrong when it comes to marketing a challenge. we would just only sell the deliverables. We listed out all the techno jumble that you would receive, daily check-ins, workout programming, customized nutrition, yada, yada, right? Stuff that nobody cares about. And we had like all these different tiers. We put it on a website, yada, yada. And what we ended up doing was spending money to launch this thing. So we ended up hiring a video crew that got a bunch of like really dope videos for us, for our marketing. We ended up building a website, which was a huge waste of time and money. We paid a graphic designer to create our logos and our branding, another big waste of money. And at the end of the day, we were about 4,500 in the hole before we launched this challenge. Okay, so we launched it. Hey, let's go, Summer Assault Challenge. Like, everybody sign up. We got 11 people to sign up, totaling about $4,000 in revenue. So if you do the math, we ended up losing $500, which doesn't even count now the work that we had to do to fulfill on that service. So we probably more likely lost like $2 or $3 grand. So let's unpack this and let's talk about why this didn't work. And then I'm going to go into what we should have done instead and what we ended up eventually doing with our business. And now that we've done with a lot of our clients, there are several reasons why none of this worked. Number one, I tried to market to everybody, right? And when you try to market to everybody, you end up being heard by nobody. It's better to be a perfect choice for a few people than to be a okay choice for many. And number two, the idea is you only need 30 perfect customers paying you $500 a month. That ends up being $15,000 a month or $180,000 in revenue. So based on the models that I was trying to deploy, I would have had to sell 100 people to pay me $99 a month, or I would have to I would have to have 150 people paying me $99 a month, or 100 people paying me $149 per month, which is a lot harder than just finding 30 people to pay you $500 a month. But I'm sure you're wondering, well, how could I possibly charge that much? That's what I'm going to show you and explain here. So just stay tuned. So number three, people don't buy programs, okay? PDFs or memberships, unless there are some outliers to that. Now, if you have a large audience, like millions of followers, it can work. But you also have to be really, really good at marketing, funnels, ads, email, because there's a lot of marketing that goes into that because it's not a real clear offer that people actually want. And maybe if you're famous, people will just buy shit because it's you, right? Like if you're, what's the guy's name? Iron Man, Chris, whatever his name is. Maybe somebody can type in the comments. Or not Iron Man, but Thor. Like that dude is selling a app-based membership program for like $100 a month. And sure, there are hundreds of thousands of people on it, which can work if you're a famous movie star, right? But if you're not a famous movie star, you're going to struggle. The fourth reason this didn't work is because you want to sell people what they want and then actually give them what they need. I was doing the opposite. We were selling what we knew that they needed, and it was not anything that in their mind that they wanted, okay? The fifth reason, the name, the logo, the branding, we spent so much time focused on that, and it really just doesn't matter, guys. We're currently a $6.5 million company. We still don't have a website, okay? And our logo, we paid $49 for back in 2018 from Fiverr. Doesn't matter, all right? And not just IFCA, but our online fitness coaching company, we never had a website, okay? And we got that to $150,000 a month with a team of 7 coaches. Like, you don't need that stuff. It's only a waste of time. Okay, number 6, and then we're going to get into actual what should you deliver. All right, the sixth thing was it was a confusing offer. So the more confusing your offer is, then the fewer number of people will buy. And it's so much easier, listen to this, write it down, it's easier to sell a solution to a single person's pain than to try to create a new desire that only you care about. And so often we do that as coaches, where it's like, these are the things that are important to me, that I love, that I want to deliver on. And I just expect people to buy them because it's what I like to sell. It's what I want to do, right? You're not thinking about the market and your consumer and what they want. Those are two very different things. The very last thing is we listed all of our pricing on a website with all these different tiers. That's a cardinal sin. It's just a terrible way to try to get customers. Think about it like this. So the reason that doesn't work is, I'll just tell you a story to explain that. So imagine that you and your wife, or let's say you're a lady watching this, you and your husband, you go to a department store looking for a dress. You have a date night coming up. And you walk in the department store and you see this dress that you really like. It's gorgeous, beautiful. You pick it up and you look for a price tag and you notice that there's no price tag on it. So you think, well, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just try it on. You put the dress on and you walk out of the dressing room and you look at your husband and you say, what do you think? he's aghast. He's like, oh my gosh, babe, you look beautiful. Like, oh my gosh, you look so great in that. Like, I want to fuck you in the dressing room right now, whatever. And so you're like, okay, I really need this dress. So you walk up to the cash register and you hand it to her and you're like, hey, I want to buy this dress. And she tells you that'll be $3,000. You pay for it. The reason you pay for it is because you've just experienced the true value of that dress. The true value of that dress is how you feel in it, right? It's how your husband looks at you. It's not just looking at it and then looking at a price tag, because when you pick something up and you look at a price tag, you end up only looking for the cheapest option. Most people do. So that's why you don't ever share prices before you can communicate the value. That's why getting on a call with an individual, asking them about their problems, asking them about, their goals, allows you to build a visual about the value that they're going to experience by getting into their new body. All right. Then when you put a price tag next to it, it's much more, it's like, cool, I see the value now, versus on a website, all they're going to do is look for the price tag. Okay. And even in that case, they usually won't buy because it's confusing. But nonetheless, one of the biggest mistakes, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to jump into like what you should be delivering upon, right? So one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen with newer fitness entrepreneurs is the idea that you're going to build this website, you're going to build this PDF program, you're going to build an app or something that doesn't come with high levels of service. It's extremely difficult to succeed that way. A, and B, you're leaving a lot of opportunity to really help people on the table. Okay, and I'm going to share a quick video from Gary Vee, because Gary Vee breaks this down much better than I could. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and play this. And for those watching live, I'm just going to turn my phone around so you can see it. So here is Gary Vee. All right, here we go.
Businessman, I happen to be good at marketing. If you're not deploying services on top of your sales, it's just not smart. You're leaving so much money on the table. And so first I would do that, and then I would find ways to be in touch with those people as often as possible, and then not just when you're asking them for goddamn money. You're super in touch when you want cash. How about when something big in their life happened? How about actually building a relationship? My friends, as we go more Jetsons, the people that act like the Flintstones are gonna win. Your grandparents are more theoretically prepared for social media than you are, because they invented the baker's dozen. They invented when you walked into the shop, they started cutting your roast beef because they knew who you were. They invented coming over your house and giving you a cake when your grandmother died. Now you have technology and you can scale that. Can we please deploy some soul and scale it?
All right. I love that so much, okay? Because it really emphasizes the point that I want to make when it comes to how are you going to separate yourself from this technology age that we're moving into, right? Where everybody wants to just deploy automation and they want to remove the human component. Like, if you can deploy a really high-touch, high-level service with your coaching offer that comes with deep relationships, deep value, deep support, coaching, and community, you can now charge for that. And you can build a legit business that creates insane, incredible results, and then you can scale that. And I'll explain how you can scale it in just a second. All right, so anyways, again, you got to stop trying to sell things that people don't want. I'm not going to get into that. If you want to understand how to create an offer, because I'm going to show you what you should deliver. But what you deliver is not necessarily how you communicate that to your audience and your market, okay? You have to understand that people just don't want workouts. They don't want nutrition plans. Most people hate eating healthy. They hate dieting. And it's so much easier to sell clients on a solution to an existing problem that they have, rather than trying to create this new desire, like you should want to work out, or you should want to work out with my fancy, super awesome workouts that are no different than most others' workout. It's pretty much the same shit. But so what you should do instead is figure out who it is you're selling to, and then what's the result that you're going to get them. As an example, I'm going to help women over 30 who work professional like C-suite jobs lose 10 pounds and 3 inches in 90 days, so that they can finally feel great in that dress that you love. And eventually you'll regain the confidence and energy you used to have before having children. And how I do this is with a macro tracking approach that allows you to not have to give up your weekends or your favorite foods. That's all people want. So you sell them that. Then when they come into your program, you give them what they need and you over deliver. You really, really over deliver on the service. And then that's what gets referrals. That's what builds retention. That's what builds your business. So what are we delivering? let's talk about that next. All right. So those of you guys watching live, tell me if this is making sense, if you guys are following and tracking. But the next thing we're going to talk about is what to actually deliver. All right. So there are 5 components to an online coaching offer. We have coaching, content, community, culture, and then your programming. All right, so let's break each of these down really quickly. Coaching, it's what they want. It's the one-on-one. It's the thing that people really, really need. This all comes down to applying what your clients learn in your frameworks and executing it properly and actually being held accountable, and them feeling connected and supported. People don't feel connected and supported through apps or if they buy a PDF program. That shit usually just sits in their inbox. They might pay $49 for it once and they never use it. Okay, so that's coaching. That's the number one most important thing. Okay, number 2 is content. The reality is, generally speaking, most people don't need content because content's commoditized. Most of your clients can go online on Google and find anything they want these days, okay? So the only outlier to this is if you are known for content. Maybe you are an exceptional content creator like a Jordan Syed or somebody like that with a large audience, and your content's really unique, then people might come to you for your content. But if you don't have a giant audience and you're known for your content like Jordan Syed, then don't try to sell content. Okay. Number 3, your culture. Culture is extremely important, but this only comes over time for you to be able to reinforce your culture within your coaching community. Okay. It's the unforeseen force in what you do. This has reinforced your culture in every one-on-one conversation you have with a prospect. Every time you show up online, every time you get a message from a client, and your culture ends up being created either by default or design. What that means is if you don't establish your culture within your community, within your clients, within your content, it'll be created for you. It's usually not a culture that you want. This is how you end up getting bad clients, frankly, because you don't know what your values are, you don't know who you're looking for, and you don't have a way to repel away people that don't align with your values. All right. And the very last thing is just your programming, your nutrition, your training that I'm going to tell you guys a secret is not that special. Okay. Sure. Maybe you're really good at programming. Maybe your workouts are the coolest, they're the best, they're awesome, but nobody cares and nobody knows that until they get into your program, and they're not going to stay with you long term because of your programming. Okay, it's important, but oftentimes your programming is overvalued by the coach and it's undervalued by the client. The best programming for most, not all, is something that's simple to follow, enjoyable, and challenging enough to ensure consistent adaptation, right? Now, again, unless you're like a Justin Mahaley or a Bryce Calvin or somebody that has built a brand based on programming, in which case they might be coming to you specifically for your programming. But it takes a long time to build up that reputation and become like known as one of the best programmers. All right. So that covers context. Now let's cover really quickly, what are we actually delivering with our program? So I'm going to do this in like 2 phases like I talked about. So this is phase 1. This would be like getting started. You don't have a team yet. You're solo. The goal is with phase 1 is to make your product good enough to sell, just good enough to sell. Then when it sells, make it better. Reinvest that money back into your business to add more value, add team members, add more elements to your offer to make it better. And therefore you can raise prices and build a better program. But don't try to build it perfect off the bat because you're not going to. It takes feedback, it takes learning, and it takes time. So you want clients, I'm not going to even mention that. So what's a general investment range for like a beginner, right? So from like 0 to 10K months. We see anywhere from like 2,400 to like 4K for 6 months. I would start with a 6-month offer, and then eventually you can switch to like a 90-day with a back end, but we won't talk about that today. But the key is with this is to have a defined time period and a defined outcome, because people, don't sell monthly package or monthly, don't sell sessions, because otherwise people have to choose every single time that payment comes out as to whether or not they need this and want to continue. Instead, get them to commit to a 6-month defined program that comes with this kind of stuff. All right. Number 1, you should have an app. So app access that covers, programming, progress tracking, one-on-one communication, and I'll cover more in details what that looks like. But next, a simple onboarding process. So basic onboarding packet just with the key things that they need, minimal viable information. Don't overwhelm them with information because they're coming to you because they're already experiencing information overload, right? They're coming to you because they don't know what to do. So you need to tell them just exactly what they need, nothing more, nothing less. Next thing would be weekly check-ins, okay? And I would probably recommend making these sound a little bit sexier in your marketing. Don't just say weekly check-ins. Maybe it's like weekly progress assessments, right? But that's another conversation. The key here is to have them send you check-ins and you give them Loom video responses back. These are video responses. So they see your face, they hear your voice. You can screen share, show them what you're looking at. And how you'll do this is in two parts. You want to make sure you're doing check-ins with quantifiable data and qualitative data. So quantifiable data, everything with that is going to be tracked in your app. We like Trainerize, there are a few others, but the quantifiable data that you're going to track, strength progression, weight trends, MyFitnessPal logs, movement, right? They might have a Fitbit, which can integrate, accountability calls is a great way to frame them as well. Movement, right? So if they wear a Fitbit or anything like that, you can integrate that to your app so you see like how much they're moving. And also habits. You can also track habits if you're trying to enforce those or you have that a part of it. The next thing is the qualitative. Okay, this is with like a Google form or just a check-in form where they tell you about their stress, their digestion, their mood, their energy. What other struggles are you experiencing? And you might even ask, what's your biggest win for this week? Because that allows you to have little nuggets of social proof every single week about how your clients are doing that you can screenshot and share on your social media. The next thing is when you're first getting started, I would kind of give away the farm. What I mean by that is over deliver. Give away your time if you have to. That might mean one-on-one calls. Now, don't set it up to where you have like a defined weekly one-on-one call. Make it more autonomous where you're just like, maybe it's every 2 weeks, every 3, every 4, depending on what the client needs, but make sure you're over delivering, creating raving fans out of those first clients. This isn't scalable, but that's okay. We'll figure out how to remove those elements later on. Then you might have a Facebook community, right? Where you post regular, community type things. Maybe it's prompts. Maybe it's like, hey, everybody post a video of a set this week, and I'm going to give you training feedback, right? Or post a video of your meal so I can give you feedback on that, or whatever it is, right? Building community that way. Then maybe you do like empowerment calls, which are like a group Zoom call bi-weekly or monthly, where they come in and they get to meet each other and you create little exercises and games. So that's kind of what phase 1 would look like, okay? You can also, create a community chat through like Facebook chat or WhatsApp or whatever. Really that simple, okay? Do you see all the elements of value here? But again, nobody's going to purchase based on this. They're going to stay once they get in and they're going to get results because of these things. So phase 2, and I got to run through this quick because I got a call starting. Phase 2, this is after you break like 10K months, you're really scaling and you're thinking about how do I make this thing better? So phase 2, you want to focus on retention more than anything else, more than acquisition. So that's where having a good back-end offer comes into play. So you sign them up on the front end, then you resell them into something super long-term. And you want to, at this point, start hiring coaches underneath of you, right, for further support, even a client concierge or a community manager where they send texts to clients regularly. Maybe it's like a Monday text asking about their weekend or what they can help with, or a Friday text saying, hey, how was your week, right? Fill me in. Extra layers of support and touch points. That doesn't have to be you. This person can also be like an onboarding point of contact. They handle all onboarding. They're like a help desk person, right? Like, hey, I'm having trouble getting into MyFitnessPal. Cool, go to our client concierge. They help coordinate community events, texting and email cadences, like onboarding emails. Maybe you even, they also handle payments and contracts, all those things. Then what you can do is you can add elements of like done for you in your offer too. And all of these things that I'm saying are going to allow you to continue to raise your prices because you're adding more value. But you can't do this in the beginning. You got to start slow. So you can end up doing like done for you meal delivery. What that means is you would partner with a meal delivery company and your client concierge would take their nutrition protocol and they would order meal delivery for your clients. Done for you. More value because you're saving time. You could also do done for you supplements, right? So you know what their protocol is and you have a partnership with a supplement company that you order all their supplements for them. And now you're making referral or affiliate income on all those sales too. Then maybe you create more like content, right? Like meditations that get delivered regularly, personal growth content, right? Or maybe it's like a monthly video library where they learn how to do things themselves, like how to do mini cuts, reverse diets, mindset work. All of this can be delivered automatically in Trainerize, and you can build this out with phase 2. Then maybe you also add retreats, right? Immersion retreats a couple times a year where all of your clients come in person. That's really how you build a lot of value, okay? Lastly, maybe you have some more niche things that you can start adding in, such as, hey, every client gets an Oura ring and I track your sleep data. Or maybe it's we do blood work analysis, and then I give hormone replacement recommendations or biometric screens. Okay, so phase 2 is all about adding more layers of service so that you can continue to raise prices and over deliver. That's how you scale. All right. Anyways, hopefully this was valuable. I've got to run. I've got a call starting right now, and hopefully this clears up some confusion around like what should I be delivering and how do I make sure my service is as valuable as possible. All right. So thanks for hanging out, and I will see you on the next one.